What's up, skippers? That's new. Sorry. Whatever. Hey, Skippy Skip here from, Skippy Skip Production, LLC. I like saying that, LLC. Makes me sound official and everything. I mean, after all, it is an LLC. Anyways, as you probably clicked on this video because it's either me or you want to hear McDonald's stories. Yeah. I used to work for McDonald's for 2 years. About 2 years. I started one summer and I ended 2 summers later. So 2 years. And I got some stories to tell you guys about what it's like working at McDonald's and all the shenanigans and everything. Now, I gotta admit this before I begin this video. Not everything, but I love McDonald's food. Probably think I'm gross, but hey, as long as it's, not like, ew, gross, like you got maggots and stuff in there and the health department doesn't have to intervene with all the McDonald's, it's fine by my book, okay? Of course, vegetarians or vegans won't go there. Anyways, so this is my stories. Sorry for walking around. I am shutting off lights all across the house. And those lights were not on when I left. I started back in 2016. At that time, I turned 16. So, birthday is on the year 2000. So, anyways, it's my very first job, and I've been applying everywhere. To Sonic. I wanted to work at Sonic because there's someone I knew there, or at least he used to work there. I really wanted to work there just because I like the guy. I don't talk to him anymore, sadly. He left the church because I used to go to church with that guy. So anyways, I started there. I got my very first interview at McDonald's, and I got it from the GM at the time. And it was a hire on the spot, except for I had to go through orientation. I had to get a workers. Since I was a minor, I had to get a working permit from my school, which my school graciously let me do since I had good enough grades. Well, I had good grades, okay? Good enough. I mean, when I say good enough, I mean, I had A's, B's, and C's. Thankfully, there's only one D minus for 1 quarter. Don't worry. That was chemistry. If you're about ready to take chemistry in high school, oh, trust me, you don't commit suicide, but you'll feel like you want to commit suicide, but please don't. By all means, don't commit suicide. So anyways, so I went through orientation and paid $5. For some reason, we're supposed to get reimbursed the money. I never got, as far as I know, no one ever told me, hey, here's the $5 back, or $5 was included in your first paycheck. I was never told that. So as far as I know, I didn't get my $5 back. So anyways, I started off in the grills because I was 16, and I'm sure they wanted a bunch of grillers and stuff since it's probably the least liked job, and honestly, I didn't like the job that much. It was cool. Yes, it's my first job. I feel empowered. I feel like I'm doing so much. No, it was, after a while, it got really boring. I got really dull and actually kind of got sick of the job. Let me get that light. Okay. So, I started off in the kitchen. I had some knowledge of how kitchens worked prior to starting at McDonald's because I worked at the world's largest brat fest up in Madison, Wisconsin. They have every year. So I told them, yeah, I cooked brats on the grills, and I also boiled hot dogs my first year working for them. So I guess that's why they threw me in the kitchen to begin with. Just a light. So moving on. Moving on. Did I turn off that light? No, I didn't. It's a job. You're deep frying stuff. Wearing gloves and stuff. I was told to wear gloves all the time. Those practical, common knowledge, common sense, safety precautions and everything. Anyways, you know, one time the manager or one of the managers told me, hey, I need you to start putting bread down. When you say put bread down, unless you're referring to a fillet, you mean you put it through this thing that kind of browns it up a little bit, like a toaster. It's like a toaster, but it doesn't get that brown. Unless you got the settings changed for a bagel, then you're going to get black. So anyways, that was the first time manager ever said, don't worry about the gloves. I was like, is this a test? Like, no. So I'm gonna be honest with you. I only put like 2 buns down without gloves, and that was it. And I never did that again or touched any food without gloves. So don't worry. But anyways, I remember the store, we swept up the back and mopped it too, you know, like the kitchen area. But let me tell you this. This is what I was told. We're supposed to move stuff around like once a year. We only like moved 1 item around periodically throughout the year, but that was it. 1 item, one like big thing we moved. That means nothing got cleaned underneath. The grills didn't get cleaned underneath. The deep fryers never got cleaned underneath. It's like, oh my word, is this kitchen sanitary? I mean, good grief. It was, I've looked under there, dust, chicken nuggets, burger patties, grease. There's an abundance of grease down there. It was disgusting. So, that's a pretty big negative, in my opinion, for working at McDonald's, because you got a question: is it sanitary? Not exactly. No. Now I have witnessed some employees. It's either they weren't properly trained. I didn't train those employees. I have trained some, but usually the employees I trained didn't last long. I'm not even an official trainer or anything. I think they have like a title of like a trainer or something, and I didn't train anyone. The ones that I didn't train, they stayed like some of them stayed longer, but none of the ones I trained stayed that long. I guess they're like, I don't want this responsibility of keeping this place clean or anything. I know one guy like just straight up didn't like to take orders. Like, that's what one manager told me, like, hey, this guy right here that you're training, he doesn't exactly like authority. So, yeah, he didn't last long. He was there for a few weeks, out the window. What else? We had this guy, I want to call him M, because his name began with M. And we went by a first name basis, not last name or anything. I know some businesses go by first name basis, but we went by first name, whatever. We're gonna call this guy M. He's a big guy, whatever. I heard him talking to another manager once and said, yeah, I'm gonna go to another McDonald's. Now this is seriously, I heard this. And they're gonna be paying me under the table. That is high level sketchiness right there. High level sketchiness. Now the GM, he was nice, I guess. The GM that I started with. I had 2 GMs while I worked at McDonald's, but the one I started with, actually I had 3 technically, but 2 of them were like the main ones. The GM, the first GM I had, he was nice to a point. Stuff. I believe he was in he was in the U.S. Coast Guard, and he was sent down, Florida, I think, had some issues like last year or 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago, maybe 1.5 years ago. They had hurricane or something. I can't remember right off the top of my head. So anyways, he had to leave for a while, and so we had our manager, who was actually the district manager. She started scheduling all of our schedules, and she apparently didn't look at any of the availability or paperwork or anything, because we literally had like when I was at McDonald's, I saw at least 5 or 6 people, and then there's me on top of them all, who was come up to a manager who was on duty and said, hey, I don't work these hours. I never work Sunday. Like, I don't work Sundays. I never work Sundays. And they're like, oh, don't worry about it. We'll get this all figured out. It happened for like 2 or 3 weeks until I think the actual GM got back and started scheduling again, or someone else started scheduling. I don't know, but the schedules started working out eventually. But it was like they totally disregarded, like the district manager totally disregarded all of our availability and stuff, and it was like, well, I'm not showing up. That's what kind of the attitude was like no one's like, well, I'm not showing up if I said I can't work those hours. I'm not showing up. So, but it all worked out in the end, I guess. I think, at least for me, it did. Now I worked with some good managers. I'm not going to lie. There were some good managers. I don't want to say their names, not because not because I'm mean, just because I want to protect the innocent and stuff, and sadly protect the guilty. So, but there was one that we're gonna call her. I can't remember her name now, but she was nice. Whatever her name was, we're gonna call her her. Her was nice and everything, and she actually showed like she had feelings. The managers do show like they have feelings, but they usually hate their job or whatever. It seems like had two managers, one of them that started out as a manager, another one that was an employee and became a manager eventually. They got fired for stealing water, like bottles of water. I'm like, why would you just steal water? Just go get a free cup of water or something. I mean, that was like, are you serious? Yeah, so they got fired. What else happened? I don't know. There's some crazy stuff. Oh, and one of the managers that did get fired that I just mentioned, they also got arrested once. Yeah, it's the McDonald's I worked at. Like, we have 3 different locations where I live. Where I worked at, this was the sketchiest McDonald's. The most, like, the one where like you would see a lot happening. I remember one time when I had like super nice GM who started out as a manager who came from Culver's. He was super nice, and eventually he became the GM. It was supposed to be hush hush up until he became the GM, but I knew about it like 2 months early. I knew that he was going to be the GM eventually because one employee told me, and then like 2 weeks later, the manager himself, who was going to be the GM, said, "Keep this hush hush, but I'm going to be the GM eventually." So, but he eventually became the GM and everything. And I remember one time while he was the GM, there was this boy that came running in to our store. And he was like, he looked all like freaked out and stuff. And then apparently the GM knew him, the really nice GM. Now, being nice can only go so far, where sometimes you just, like, I mean, I'm not saying be mean, but being nice can also be wrong at times. Just don't be mean ever, but you're not always supposed to be nice. So what I'm saying is, the boy comes running in, he's like kind of freaked out looking and stuff, and then the manager comes up front, and I guess he knows the boy or something, and he says, hey, what's wrong? And then the boy's not saying anything, he's just looking around outside, and the manager says, like, are you running away from someone or something? And then he just kind of doesn't say anything. He says, I'm running from the cops, the kid says quietly. I was right next to him. I could hear him. I was at a cash register waiting for a customer to come by, order something. I heard him say, I'm running from the cops. And the manager's like, okay. Or the GM says, okay, come in the back with me. And then the GM comes up to me and says, hey, don't say anything, okay? I was like, I just nod my head. My intentions was, if there were cops that actually showed up in the store, I guess I wouldn't have voluntarily given them information, but if they asked me, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to say, there's a kid in the back who was freaked out or something. I would have said that if someone was to ask me, like the cops. Because, I mean, I don't want to lose my job. I don't want to be like, like them just searching the store anyways and be like, you lied to us. You are now under, whatever, I don't know, under arrest for, like, whatever the legal thing is for stopping justice or whatever. that was a really sketchy moment. Now, there was a lot more craziness that happened. Like one time, I mean, this was a funny story. One time, that manager M, he was cleaning out the ice chest for the fries, and over like throughout the day, he starts getting snow built up into it and everything, and stuff like that, and some ice, and he clean it out. So he starts, like, just for the fun of it, just starts throwing snow at the kitchen employees, and that was some fun times. Started throwing, just at us, and then I was just trying to avoid it because I'm wearing glasses. If my glasses get wet, I get really, like, I'm really picky with if I see something like a smudge or raindrop in my glasses, unless there's like a lot of them. If I see one, I need to clean my glasses. I didn't want to clean my glasses like 6 times, so I just kind of just stayed away and everything. I was working with this one guy. I don't remember his name, but he's moved on to a different city now. I worked with him a lot of Saturday nights. Like, I worked Saturday nights when we closed and stuff, and also when we didn't close. Like, at one point, for like a long time, my McDonald's, we were 24/7. And eventually, we didn't have enough staff, so we had to kind of limit our hours. Well, anyways, this one employee that I worked with Saturday nights, like, he was like on like a bit of a sketchy side. He smoked and stuff. And I guess that might explain his bad teeth or something, but that's besides the point. He was always talking about stuff, and sometimes it was just like, nah, that's crazy talk, stuff like that. And he said something to me once because he found out I'm an apostolic Pentecostal, and he says to me, and he's Catholic, and he says to me, like, he says, like, really serious yet, like, sounding kind, sounding serious, and sounding threatening all at the same time. He says, difference in beliefs causes conflict. And then at that time, I was like, whoa. I mean, I didn't say this out loud. I was like, is that a threat? So I just kind of stopped talking to him for the rest of the night. He was going to be gone the next week anyways. He said he was quitting and stuff, so yeah. Is there any other good stories in the snowball fight? Well, there was a couple. One time, this was bad on my part. Only twice I either showed up late or didn't show up late in my entire work history without giving notification. Okay? And only one of those times was at McDonald's. I showed up. I didn't know I worked, and the manager gave me a call, and he tells me, hey, you're supposed to work today and stuff. So, I show up late, like hour and a half late. I have like an hour and a half left of my shift to go. And when I get there, and he tells me, before you leave, I want you to sweep and mop the floors. And that was like the first time I ever did it. I never swept or mopped the floors at McDonald's ever until then. And he said that was the best job he's ever seen in a long time, he said. He never saw the floors look so good. And then from there on out, I made sure whenever I clean floors, those floors look great. I get under stuff, start sweeping them out, and I mop it really well and stuff. And all the managers like my sweeping and mopping work. No, I'm not going to be your janitor if anyone's looking for an employee to be a janitor. I don't want to be your janitor. Janitors are nice, though, generally speaking. Anyways, there was one problem I had. Now, it's not a racial problem, but I did have a problem. I mean, it's not like a problem that really bothered me, but it made working a little bit harder. My McDonald's like to employ staff that either didn't know English at all or barely knew English. They like to do that a lot, and they throw them in the kitchen. And I was thrown in the kitchen a lot because I was one of the few people who would suck it up and actually do their job in there. I mean, all the staff who didn't know English or little English, they did a great job. Other people who knew English back there, they either didn't spend much time back there or they just did not do a good job at all. I'm just going to be honest. Now, there was one girl that when I started there, she was there for like 6 years before, maybe 5 or 6 years before I started. And I would nickname her the legend because she was like, whoop, 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 like a ninja and making all his burgers real fast and stuff. She did a great job. She knew English, she knew Spanish stuff, but yeah, she was one of the few employees who actually did good, who spoke English fluently. So yeah, but it made it work. It was really hard working with them, but you know, we did learn from each other. I learned what mas meant, which means more. So I'd be like, chicken nuggets, mas. Gracias? I'm not sure what was it. Gracias is thank you. I'm not sure. See, I'm bad at Spanish. I nearly failed 6th grade Spanish basics. Nearly failed it. The test. Oh my word. That's a different story. So, yeah. What else? This might have to be a part 2, if I get enough likes on this video. But I remember we go through at my McDonald's managers and employees like that. I mean, when I first started for like 6 months, it seemed like the staff was the same all the time. But then after that, it seemed like managers. Like during my 2 years there, we went through and managed to lose more. Like managed to have less than a lot less than what we started with when I started McDonald's. Like a lot less managers than when I started. Like it was hard to get anyone to work at McDonald's. And then as a manager, I would have been a manager, but then I was like, I hate this place. I want to go. I was actually seriously thinking about being a manager when I was of age and, when I was 18 and stuff. But then I was like, you know what? Forget this. There's better jobs out there, especially better jobs at McDonald's. So anyways, what else? I probably went through 45 to 70 employees during my 2 years at McDonald's, like employees ranging from high schoolers to adults. Yeah, it was not a good job. Right now at Kohl's, where I work at now, we hold on to our employees pretty well, I think. I mean, we have like a lot of short-term people. I mean, I only work there like 3 days a week right now, so I don't quite know everything. Or I shouldn't say everything, but not good enough knowledge of business right now. Anyways, this ain't Kohl's, this is McDonald's we're talking about. What else? I found out that we change our oil for our chicken nuggets like once a week. Once a week we change the oil. You're probably wondering, well, what happens when you shut down the store? What happens to that oil? Well, we keep it in there. Keep it cooking. Wait, do we keep it cooking? I don't think we keep it cooking or anything. We turn off the, I don't remember, it's been a while. I think we turned off the deep fryers and we just put a lid over it so it didn't get dusty. So at least we kept it from getting dust. But still, a week. I mean, I wouldn't care, but I know our customers care and stuff. What else? I mean, there was plenty of bad and good customer stories. I don't want to make this into I might have to make this into a half-an-hour video, but there's definitely more to talk about than what I'm going to be talking about now. So if you really want to see another video, go ahead and comment or like or subscribe. Write down, hey, I want another video of McDonald's. I've only worked at 3 McDonald's locations. I mean, I was officially at one, but I guess they transfer employees to other stores if they need help. I once went to Columbus, and I quite a few times went to the other one by my high school that I used to go to. I went over there frequently during one summer. Columbus, let me tell you about that place. That place was, small. It's in like a strip mall, is it? Or a small one or whatever. Something like that. It had a drive-thru at least. It was like right in a corner on the side, so it could have a drive-thru. But that McDonald's was like evil. I mean, there was a couple of nice people I met there, but there's this one manager who, I don't like cursing. I really don't. I play some video games with cursing in them, but it depends on how much and if I can censor it out or not. And this manager had a mouth like a hog, filling its mouth with a bunch of that gross stuff, whatever it is. About every other word was a curse word and stuff. I remember, like, I was like supposed to go, or supposed to be, I'm out of McDonald's at 4:30. I'm done working, stuff like that, and I'm just waiting for him to like, he's supposed to drive us home, this manager, and he's in the office, and the office is like if you were at like the cash register closest to the kitchen at that Columbus store, and you walked up there and you looked straight, you could see, where they cook the food and assemble it, and then all the way back to the manager's office. And the manager had his door wide open, and while I'm just sitting there waiting, he yells a vain curse word really loudly, and then all the customers are like, okay. It was like, this guy had no respect for the customers who were in there and everything. Whew. And we got a ride home from him, and he ended up taking out his phone while driving and showing us, look at all the Pokemon for Pokemon Go I got. Stuff like that, and started smoking. Now I guess smoking is his own business. But don't drive with your phone in your hand looking at it like constantly. Like, good grief. I'm a minor at this time, and there's another person in the back with me who is also a minor. I'm telling you, don't work for McDonald's. Just don't. A couple of times I've told an employee through the drive-thru or at the register, get out of McDonald's while you still can. It's a nightmare. Good grief. I'm surprised I didn't talk about any bad customer interactions. I know I've talked about some on this channel, but this is kind of like a combination of stuff I may have already talked about and more. But, yeah, I don't know. A lot of times when I heard of a manager quitting McDonald's, like I knew about them quitting or I heard about them afterwards quitting, they would generally be going to another McDonald's location. Because like I said, the McDonald's I worked at was the sketchiest of the three in the city I live in. The sketchiest. It's... I don't know. I don't get McDonald's as a first job. I don't even get McDonald's as an ever job. Just don't. Unless you're corporate or something. Corporate really needs to step in more, I think. Like say, hey, you gotta keep this stuff more sanitary. You gotta keep your store clean. Because honestly, that store would get pretty messy. One time I came in, I was just getting over a cold. I still had some side effects, but I still had to come in. And the manager, I was showing some signs of still having some issues. The manager on duty was like, hey, I need you to go and clean out this thing, this filter. That's like kind of like there's like it's like under one of our, I think it's under our orange juice maker or something, and I was supposed to clean it out and everything, and and he made this is one of the managers that got fired for stealing the water. He made me clean it out, and then there was another manager who was also the other manager who got fired. They said, hey, just quickly do it. Don't worry about it. I know you're not feeling good. Just don't worry about it. Plus, that manager that made me clean that filter out was acting like a jerk all night. There was actually me who was cleaning, who was cleaning the kids' play area, that like our new one that we got because we had a remodel. We're cleaning the new kids' play area, and then the GM, the second GM I had, he walks in. He's like, oh, got to get away from that guy. Got to get away from that manager. I hate him. And then the other manager, the one who told me, hey, don't worry about cleaning that one thing out, the filter. She comes in there a few minutes later. Says, I gotta hide from this guy. I gotta get away from him. So a few weeks later, they both got fired same day and stuff. Yeah. I guess one more story before I depart, you guys, is I remember the second GM I had, he said that he was getting a gut feeling that someone was stealing coupons and stuff. Just a gut feeling, because there's like there's 3 items that were promoted or whatever, and for some reason that's just really suspicious. When you promo an item, it means you get it for free. So later he goes in the back. He starts counting the coupons that are in the cash register drawer. He's trying to see how many are in there. So a few minutes later, he comes back to where he got the drawer from. There's a person who's in the back, and he's like, he's cashing out people, and then he goes up to him and says, "Hey, who in the world is?" He says, "Hey, I'm missing some coupons," and then right away that employee says, "Oh, it's that guy," and points over to someone else right next to him, and he's like, "Are you taking coupons?" The GMS, and then the employee reaches into his pocket and pulls out 3 coupons. And then the manager just flat out chews him out, the GM, just starts chewing him out and says, "You're fired," and starts running him out of the store while he's putting on his winter coat or whatever. That was like the angriest I've ever seen him get. The angriest. So that's the last story. Last thing I got to say about working for McDonald's. If you want to know more stories, whether it's customers, more kitchen stuff, or manager, or whatever, or even employees, too. There's plenty of those employee stories out there. If you want to know any of that stuff, just comment below saying, "Hey, I want another video." So I do thank you guys for watching, and have a great and blessed day. Bye, everybody. Oh, by the way, I still got that McDonald's uniform. Like, they ordered it, or at least they said they ordered it like 3 times. I never got that new McDonald's gray uniform. Never got it. I still have the black one.